Welcome back to another episode of the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I are going to be breaking down the game between the Carolina Panthers and my Atlanta Falcons. You guys can comment or on how bad that was. But anyways, really excited. We actually have a 500 record, so I'm really looking forward to talking about this. I don't think it's going to last long, and I'll get into that in a second. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see when we release new content. Like this video, comment on this video. Let us know your thoughts on who's going to win the game, some players that should be on the lookout for. And Ryan, let's get into this. So just looking at all the stats. So Atlanta is actually on if I'm not mistaken, 2-game win streak, while Carolina is on a 4-game losing streak. So I think my Falcons are playing the Panthers at a primo time. However, I don't think it's going to last, and I want to hear your thoughts initially first.
Well, I think the Carolina Panthers are struggling without Christian McCaffrey. I think Sam Darnold is reverting back to kind of what he was with the Jets. And maybe, I guess, we gave Adam Gase too much credit for ruining that franchise. And maybe Sam Darnold did play a hand in it. However, I think the Panthers have just played a string of good teams, and I am interested in this matchup. I think the Falcons' strength on the defensive side is the front seven, and the Carolina's weakness is that offensive line. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see how that plays out. I think Deion Jones and is it Albert Oluokun or is it Rob?
No, it's Foye Oluokun.
Oh, Foye. I don't know who I'm thinking of then. But
sure
Oluokun will.
I know what you're talking about.
They'll match up well with Chuba Hubbard and some of the other backs they have coming out of the backfield. But all in all, I think this is going to be a really competitive game. I'm actually going to be at this game on Sunday.
What?
So that'll be
You didn't invite me?
Well, it was set up by my girlfriend's brother. So it was kind of...
okay.
So it wasn't really my thing to invite people to.
I won't take offense to it. But no, I agree with what you're saying. I think another thing that'll help, especially with the Falcons, the front seven, is on the better side. They actually are in the top half of the league in rushing defense, is 16th overall, so we're just barely making it. But I think another thing that'll help as well for the Falcons defense is they really only have one receiver weapon, and that's DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson isn't really having the year that he has want to have. With Christian McCaffrey hurt, Chuba Hubbard I think is a good running option, but it's just not the same catching the ball out of the backfield. Ian Thomas, I believe it's Ian Thomas, their starting tight end, and then Tommy Tremble, their rookie tight end, still aren't really receiver threats. And it's going to help out with Atlanta because they might be down AJ Terrell and Eric Harris as well, their safety. And so just if they're a little hurt in the secondary, that does favor the matchup for Atlanta. Shockingly, actually, this is probably going to be more of a defensive-heavy game. I'm leaning more towards the under, which is just 46 points right now. Atlanta is the favorite by 3 points. However, I think that they're going to turn into – I think it's going to be tough for them to move the ball. The Panthers have the number second ranked pass defense. And there's an asterisk to it, but I'll get to that in a second. And the 13th ranked running defense to go along with that. And the Falcons, they're not really much of a running team. They can run the ball. Cordell Patterson is probably their most dynamic player. But a lot of his yards and his touches are more catches out of the backfield doing routes. He's really is kind of their gadget guy. Kyle Pitts is starting to really come on. He's had back-to-back 100-plus yard games. And Calvin Ridley is also still a solid receiver threat. And you have other weapons with Russell Gage as well as the number 2 receiver. The thing – so I'll talk about the Panthers passing defense. They are second overall, but if we look at 2 of their worst defensive performances, they gave up 433 yards to the Cowboys and 571 yards to the Minnesota Vikings, both of which are top 6 offenses. The other games that they've had where like the next highest total was 302 yards that they gave up to the New York Giants. All the other teams that they have played have weak offenses. I think like 25th, 24th ranked, I think is the highest. And I think that's No, the New York Giants is a little bit higher than that. So not really elite offenses. And so I think that's why that number might be inflated a little bit. So there might be some hope for the Falcons to move the ball through the air. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball because they also have a weaker offensive line.
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of saying a bunch of stuff now, but it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, just because neither offense is super elite in any category. But
No.
I think their defense is going to be able to shut down the offense just from moving the ball.
Yeah. Well, ever since Christian McCaffrey went out, I don't want to say Carolina's offense has struggled, but because they have put up 28 points twice and then 18 against Philadelphia, which was a performance that they probably shouldn't have lost. They just played terrible as an entire team.
Well, the biggest thing for me is in the past 4 games, Carolina has 9 turnovers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's if they can protect the ball, I think that they can beat the Falcons. But they have not been doing that very well. Sam Darnold has been sloppy over the past couple of games with the balls, especially with the Cowboys game. He had 2 bad picks. He only had 1 pick against New York, but he just overall just didn't play really well.
But neither did the whole team. That offensive line was very porous. And I don't really see a way that the Panthers if they protect the ball, I agree, but they are just on a skid and it just seems to be getting worse. They really didn't play well against Minnesota. They just had 2 pretty good drives in the second half, and that was really it. And one of those was a miraculous performance in the closing minute by Sam Darnold. So I think the Falcons are on kind of a win streak here. I know they played Miami and the Jets, 2 of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, but and their other win was the New York Giants. So they haven't really beaten anybody of significance either. So that's kind of some of their stats are also inflated as well, to be fair.
And right now I think Carolina is playing. Well, I mean they did just lose to the Giants, but right now I think Carolina is playing in the bottom tier of teams. It's just the quality of football that they're putting out there. So I'm going to pick the Falcons. I suspect it'll be like a 28-24 type of game. I think Carolina will be able to keep it close, but I just think they're going to make too many mistakes. So
yeah, I'll be a homer. I'm going to stick with Atlanta as well. I think it's going to be the under. I mean, I'm looking at probably like a 21-14 type of matchup. I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to run the ball too much, so it's going to be a lot of slants, a lot of screens, a lot of pass plays. And I think that their defense is just going to be able to cause some turnovers that the Panthers have been prone to over the past couple of weeks. So I'll also stick with that. I'm a homer, so you can call me out on it.
But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this game, and we will see you guys next time.